Maybe we can get started and then people will be joining as we go. Let me just 1 second. So you can all see the screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, hello everyone and good afternoon. My name is Ivaria Perez Gonzalez. I'm curatorial associate at the Perez Art Museum, where I also manage the Green Family Foundation Caribbean Cultural Institute, or the CCI as we call it. I'm joined here by my colleague, Naomi Beaton from PAM, and also Aldeida Delgado, founder of Women Photographers International Archive, or WOPHA in short, who will be leading this information session with me today. Thank you all for your interest in our fellowship program and for connecting to this online session. Before we dive in, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping notes. The session is being recorded, as you can probably see, for those who are interested in learning more about the CCI and the WOPHA Fellowship, but were not able to join us at this time. And the recording will be made available in the fellowship page of the CCI website. We invite you, everyone, to have your videos on if you wish, but we kindly ask you to keep your microphones muted throughout the session to avoid any disruptions. Just to give you an idea of how the session will unfold, Aldeida and I will share a few slides and provide more information about CCI and WOPHA and the fellowship program. And after these, we will have a moment for questions. So please take note of your questions or feel free to post them in the chat and we will address them in the Q&A portion of the session. So without further delay, I would like to begin by giving a brief introduction to the CCI for those who may be unfamiliar with the Institute and our programs. So the CCI is a curatorial and research platform at the Perez Art Museum, Miami, dedicated to advancing the art of the Caribbean and its diasporas within a global contemporary context. The Institute was established in 2020 with the support of a 5-year grant from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation to consolidate and give continuity to the museum's long-standing engagement with the region's artistic and cultural production. So in a way, the Caribbean has always been part of the DNA of the museum. Its institutional focus on the Caribbean is driven in large part by Miami's geographic location, which has made it a destination for migration from around the region and a hub for regional travel. But Miami is also very much defined by the diasporic communities that have and continue to shape its population, including Bahamians, Cubans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, and many other Caribbean communities that make up the social fabric of the city. PAM has been committed to collecting and showing Caribbean artists for decades, which is reflected in its exhibition history, from earlier shows dedicated to Caribbean artists like Ana Mendieta, Edward Duval-Carrier, or Ebony Patterson, to more recent exhibitions such as The Other Side of Now, or Madeline Hunt Ehrlich's The Right to See. The CCI builds on this legacy and pushes it forward through its exhibitions, but also collection development, also by generating scholarship, organizing programs, public programs, fellowships, and collaborative projects. This initiative was also driven by the underrepresentation of Caribbean art and artists within the institutional space of the museum and the art historical canon. The Institute fills a void within this context, building greater visibility for artists and practitioners beyond the region, identifying key sites of research, and deepening the audience and understanding of Caribbean art histories. This year, the CCI has entered a new phase of growth with the support of the Green Family Foundation, which enables the expansion of our programs and support for artists and scholars across the region and its diasporas, while at the same time allowing us to continue fostering exchanges and collaborations with diverse communities and organizations in Miami and abroad. So one of the main areas of engagement within the Institute is its annual fellowship program. So each year, we invite researchers, scholars, visual artists, cultural practitioners, and photographers, specifically women and non-binary photographers, to Miami to conduct research, develop work, and engage with the city's vibrant artistic community. The fellowship supports artistic projects and research that advance cultural production and scholarship across the Caribbean and its diasporas. And through this research and production-based residencies, the program fosters new approaches to Caribbean art, expands established frameworks of interpretation, and amplifies emerging voices and narratives that reflect the contemporary condition of Caribbean art and thought. CCI's footprint expands through the work of our fellows and the partnerships we create with like-minded institutions locally, like WOPHA, and others within the region. This year, the CCI invites interested researchers and artists to apply to one of its 3 programs, the CCI Research Fellowship, the CCI Artist Fellowship, and the CCI and WOPHA Fellowship. All programs are self-directed and will take place between September and December of this year. We'll talk more about these, but before continuing with more details about the program, I would like to turn it over to Aldeide, who will share a brief introduction of WOPHA and its programs. Aldeide.
Thank you so much, Iberia, and hello, everybody. I am Aldeide Delgado, and I'm an historian and curator and the founder of Women Photographers International Archive WOPHA, a nonprofit organization created in 2018 with a mission to research, promote, support, and educate on the contributions of those who identified as women and non-binary to photography. The organization has a wide scope of programs that include workshops, conferences, courses, artist residencies, fellowships, and one of the most ambitious programs is the WOPHA Congress that takes place every 3 years. Collaboration has been key to the success of WOPHA thanks to our partnership with institutions such as the Perez Museum Miami, to which we collaborated in 2023, if we go to the next slide, through the Symposium on the Age of Visibility that was organized in partnership with AWARE, Archives of Women Artists Research and Exhibition. For WOPHA, as an archive that is rewriting the history of photography from feminist and decolonial perspectives, paying attention to the Caribbean, has been essential. The organization emerged after 5 years working with my original project catalog of Cuban women photographers, which constituted the first comprehensive approach to Cuban photography history from a feminist perspective. Once I moved to Miami in 2016 and noticed the lack of dedicated spaces for photography and the lack of opportunities for making visible the work of women photographers worldwide, the organization emerged, considering Miami as a border space, as a political space from where to rewrite the history of photography. We have a strong attention, a strong focus on the artistic production of Latin American, the Caribbean, and Latinx communities in the US. And with this symposium that we organized in 2023 was the beginning of a relationship with the Caribbean Cultural Institute in a way by launching the inaugural, at the moment, CCI plus WOPHA Fellowship. And it was an evidence of our long-term commitment to supporting and creating opportunities for women photographers in the region. Here is a little overview of some of the fellows. Now we are in our 4th edition, on our 4th cycle, and we are very excited for that. Previous artists that we have supported include Fariha Aliyah Shah, an artist residing in Canada, originally from Guyana, who makes a research project about working on the archives of Guyana, and was very interested in finding that connection with Miami, with the Caribbean community in Miami through her research. Additionally, we had Claudia Claremi in 2024 and Celia Irina Gonzalez in 2025, 2 artists originally with ties to Cuba, but residing in Mexico and Spain. And this is very important. We are going to speak a little bit more about that, but you know, this program is open to artists from the Caribbean and its diaspora. So we can continue to the next one.
So just to give you a general idea, and we'll elaborate more on each one of these points, the CCI WOPHA Fellowship is open to emerging and mid-career women and non-binary photographers from the Caribbean and its diaspora, as we've mentioned. This is very much a production-based fellowship. So during the fellowship period, the selected fellow will focus on either producing new work or expanding an ongoing project. The fellow will receive institutional support from both the CCI and WOPHA, as well as access to their institutional resources and networks. So the idea is that fellows are able to develop their practice through research, mentorship, and engagement with the local art community here in Miami. This year, the select CCI and WOPHA Fellow may also have the opportunity to collaborate with Green Space Miami and engage with the academic community at the Kimberly Green Latin American and Caribbean Center at Florida International University. The CCI and WOPHA Fellowship will run from September through November and follow a hybrid format combining in-person and remote participation. The fellowship will include a residency period in Miami during the month of September, and the rest of the fellowship will be dedicated to independent work in the fellows' home country or the city where they reside. Select fellows receive stipend and production funds, and if they don't live here in the city, we will also provide round-trip airfare to Miami.
The fellowship is open to women and non-binary artists or photographers, as we have been mentioning, as part of satellite eligibility, who can apply. Also very important that their work primarily focus on photography and visual culture or contemporary photography practices, should be able to commit to the full 1 month residency in Miami that is going to take place in September in El Espacio 23, as we already mentioned. Should have at least 5 years of professional artistic practice, be able to dedicate to a minimum of 30 hours per week to studio work, be eligible to travel to the US. International applicants must ensure they meet all necessary visa and entry requirements. Unfortunately, we cannot sponsor visa processes, but we are open to provide letters of support or recommendation for supporting your applications to the visa. We also, the program is run primarily in English. So although you can speak other languages, just be aware that even us, we are bilingual, speaking English and Spanish, and we understand the plurality of languages spoken in the Caribbean. So we recognize that, but please be mindful that all the communication and the public programs are going to be conducted in English. Also, another requirement is that you shouldn't have been a previous resident or participant in this program. As part of the application process, to complete the application, you should go to a slide room and submit all requested application materials in English. Application materials must include the following elements: a cover letter describing your interest in the program and how PAM's collaboration with WOPHA uniquely aligns with your objectives. You should also include a CV, including your contact information for 2 references, your artist statement, a project proposal, including a projected budget and timeline, and a portfolio attached as a media.
And just to clarify before we move on, so the fellowship application, the link for that can be found in the CCI website, in the fellowship page of the CCI website, for those who would be interested in applying.
And as part of the application process, applications are reviewed by the CCI and WOPHA teams in collaboration with a selected external jury that rotates annually, ensuring a rigorous, balanced, and evolving evaluation process. Selected applicants will be notified by the end of June.
What do we offer? So the CCI and WOPHA Fellowship includes studio and living space at El Espacio 23 here in Miami. Artists are hosted at El Espacio for a month, and this will take place during the month of September, and this is a fixed date. The facility includes 3 apartments, so the fellow will be sharing living and workspace with 2 other artists that will be in Miami during that month. And I believe these are going to be WOPHA residents, right? Artists in residence. Yeah, so there will be other 2 additional WOPHA artists in residence during the months of September, sharing the space, living and workspace with the CCI and WOPHA Fellow. Each of the rooms is comfortably equipped with a private kitchen, private bathroom, and laundry facilities. Fellows will also have access to a shared studio or shared workspace. This is a common area that will be shared between all the fellows. In addition to that, CCI and WOPHA will make available additional resources to fellows as needed. These can range from access to dark rooms, scanning equipment, or printing facilities. That depends on the needs of each of the artists or the projects that they will be developing. So together, CCI and WOPHA have co-developed a support structure that allows fellows to move between research, production, and visibility. So in addition to living and studio space, as we just mentioned, fellows will also receive round-trip airfare if they are coming from out of town. They receive a $2,000 stipend, and this is divided in two installments, 50% at the start of the program and 50% upon completion of the program and submission of the expected outcomes. They receive also $4,000 for production funds. These are usually distributed in two installments, so 50% at the start of the program and 50% halfway through the fellowship. And this is contingent upon proof of progress within the program. We also provide curatorial guidance and support, as well as opportunities for professional development and mentorship. This happen mostly through virtual sessions that we organize between the fellows and international scholars, curators, and experts in relevant fields. So this means that fellows have access to the networks of both CCI and WOPHA during their fellowship period. We also offer opportunities for public engagement. Usually the third week of the fellowship program, we organize an open studio at El Espacio 23, which is a great opportunity for you to present and share your work with the local community. And in addition to these, there may be other opportunities to participate in talks or public programs and activities organized by both the CCI and WOPHA, including perhaps studio visits to local artist studios or visits to local museums and art institutions, including PAM, of course.
Yes, so what are the responsibilities? So we ask when we ask the fellows to commit to the full 1 month residency, also to produce new or ongoing body of work, participate in the activities and public programs organized by CCI and WOPHA, engage with Miami's photographic and contemporary art community. As Iberia was mentioning, we organize this opportunity for studio visits, and it's part of the commitment, the expectations that the fellows participate in these activities, develop a final visual essay to be published on the CCI website, and submit a written report reflecting on their fellowship experience. Also, as part of WOPHA, we are going to invite the fellows to do a takeover or Instagram account. That usually happens like a year after of the fellowship cycle.
This is just an image of our last open studio and art talk at El Espacio, which took place on September 19th last year with CCI WOPHA Fellow Celia Gonzalez and WOPHA artist in residence Natifa Michelle and Kat Thompson. And just to recap, the deadline for the submission of all CCI materials or the fellowship materials for the CCI and WOPHA Fellowship is at the end of the day on June 1st of this year. Any questions that you have, you can please send them to cci@pam.org. If there's anything that I cannot answer for you, I'll relay it to Aleides, but we'll make sure to answer all your questions. And then one thing that I would like to note is that we're not able to provide technical assistance while you are submitting your application through the Slideroom platform. In case you encounter any technical issues, we encourage you to contact Slideroom directly. And so I think at this point, we can open up the open it up to the floor, to you guys. If you have any questions for Aldeide or me about the program, the fellowship, anything that we offer, anything that isn't clear.
Yeah.
Yes. Hola, Brenda.
Hola. Let me put myself on a camera. So the portfolio, it says on PDF, so online is not enough. What would be the difference between submitting an online portfolio versus a PDF?
So I guess that the PDF part is in case you want to submit more than than 3 images, because I believe that the system will only allow you to upload 3 media. So I guess that would be, let's say, 3 images. But if you wanted to include, let's say, a dossier of your work, different bodies of work, maybe what we would suggest is to attach a PDF so that you have, more opportunity or more space to, present your work.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also another quick question, because I saw that somebody has another one in the chat. The project proposal, how detailed that should be if it is a conceptual work in development?
As detailed as you can be at this point, I guess. I mean, we do accept work in progress, so but I guess the more information that you provide, the better, because then us and also like the jury will be able to better assess your application conceptually. No?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that is I think it's very important to in every description, I mean, in a project proposal, to clarify, like, why are you doing what you are doing? What are you doing? How are you going to do it? And what is the expected outcome for that project? Those are going to be like the main elements that we will be reviewing as we, revise the applications.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we have some questions in the chat. For example, like, would an applicant from the island of Bermuda be considered for this application?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing. Then, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And then, is there any printing facilities accessible, for example, for silk printing? I have to say that there is, and as part of the budget, there is a production budget that is offered. And from WOPHA, we are going to share like a list of resources to local printers. We have, yes, printing facilities, darkroom printing facilities as well. When it comes to silk printing, there is a place that they print on fabric. And I know that they use polyester, that they print on polyester. I am not sure about silk, but of course, that's a conversation. And otherwise, I know that there are like some online options that you can use while you are in residence. But yeah, printing facilities there are, but it depends on what the business is available in town. There is places for printing on fabric, but I am not sure if they print on silk. The third question is this open for artists living in Miami? My photography project will take place in Puerto Rico, but it's in Miami. I am doing the research and future presentation. And yes, Miami artists are welcome to apply.
Yes, any other questions? I think from my perspective, one question that usually comes up is whether you can apply to CCI WOPHA and also to the Artist Fellowship at the same time or in the same year. And the answer to that is yes. You would be considered, your application would be considered for both programs. Mm-hmm. Also, maybe I should to clarify a little bit further, so we mentioned that the fellowship will take place between September and December. So our fellowships in general, the CCI and WOPHA Fellowship in particular takes place between September and November. Within that time period, September is a fixed date, as I mentioned. That's the period of the residency here in Miami. And then October, November would be a period of independent work and the moment where you will be just wrapping up your project and finishing your project for submission at the end of November. And so it is very important, because this is a production-based fellowship, that there is a tangible outcome to your project. So be mindful when submitting your application and your proposal that you should be able to accomplish your goals during the allotted time. I think there is
a question in the chat that says, when calculating the budget, how exact does it need to be? For example, for some of us who are not known to US prices, being in the diaspora. So I think,
Go ahead.
No, I think that like a little bit like the question before, as more detailed and as more precise you can be, the better. Of course, we will consider all the factors as we are reviewing applications. But one of the key elements in the evaluation process is the feasibility of the project. So I would advise that look, you can create like a little bit of research online, trying to understand what are the prices, what are the options. I would advise to do that, because feasibility is one of the elements that we and the jurors are going to be reviewing through the applications.
Yeah, maybe worst case scenario, you try to create your budget based on prices in your home country, and then maybe trying to convert it to US currency if worst comes to worst.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if research, but if the information is not readily available online, or they're not able to find it for whatever reason. But yeah, as accurate as possible and as detailed as possible.
Mm-hmm. Hi, can you expand on visual culture? For example, would a filmmaker apply to this fellowship or the artist fellowship? And that's very interesting, because even one of the potential questions is like what we consider as photography and visual culture. We want to make sure that we are understanding we are taking like a wide approach to photography. That's why we also use like photography practices. We are considering image making with or without cameras, experimental, archival, lens-based practices, as well as computational, augmented, and research-based approaches that engage primarily with the photographic medium. So definitely, a filmmaker could apply. Even some of the previous artists have made the final outcome have been videos that they have produced. Just please, ensure that the framing and the outcome of the project is within, contemporary visual culture, working and framing your project within the photography medium of the lens-based medium.
And maybe just to add to that, while it is true that our previous fellows have worked on video, these have been short videos, not necessarily full-length films, because usually filmmaking requires a broader support structure and much more funds than what we can provide at the moment. I think there should be, even if you're a filmmaker, there should be some kind of image. I don't know. I don't want to say still image like output.
No, but it's exactly. It's like even when because that's a good clarification. The previous projects, they have been, the application have been based on photography. and they have presented the projects in that way. Of course, we understand that the contemporary practice of photography includes that not necessarily the artwork is going to be printed, but it can be projected. It could be a slideshow. It could be actual video, as Iberia was mentioning. So yeah, definitely we are not looking for like a video production in the sense of a long film, if that's clear. Yeah, well, it seems that.
Any other questions?
Yes, talking about the video photography based kind of project. If I have one as part of my portfolio, how I'm going to share that if for the application is in a PDF, should I share a link to where the video is?
I would suggest in that case, because the slide room application allows you to upload 3 media. So maybe if you want to include a video, maybe you can upload your video as 1 media, and then maybe the PDF as an additional media. I mean, you have up to 3. So maybe you want to share 1 PDF and 2 videos. If you have more than 1 video, I guess there are ways that you can play with the system. Or if you just want to share just 3 media, but I think we encourage, for the purpose of the evaluation process, also that you want to present your work and your practice in an expansive manner, so that the jury is also so they can understand how your work has evolved, or just get more context on your practice and the project that you will be proposing to develop while in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, adding to that, I think that exactly you can, in some cases, you can add like a still image from the video,
right?
And along with a link to see it, just make sure that that link is open and no passwords are required to see it, or if passwords are required, that you include those passwords, because it will be unfortunate if the users can see the work. It says, within the context of the colonial and feminist perspectives, does the body of work of the fellow need to be within this perspective? Thank you. No, not at all.
No, I think we encourage like different kinds of perspectives. We welcome different kinds of perspectives, and also interdisciplinary approaches to photography and artistic practice would also be very much welcome. So maybe I just use this opportunity also to clarify, going back to the question related to budget. When you detail your budget items, that is meant to be mostly for the production funds, because the stipend is separate from the production funds. So stipend should not be included in that, just to clarify.
Is there any other question?
Hello, hi, yes. I'm sorry if you probably already answered this question, but would a documentary lens that does touch on contemporary culture of the diasporas be considered for this as well? And it's lens-based, but also explorative in other ways?
Yeah, I think that we are pretty much open to all the possibilities within the realm of lens-based or contemporary photography practices.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah. Just to clarify, you meant like documentary photography, for example? To Nicola, if you meant documentary photography.
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay, wonderful, thank you.
Any more questions before we wrap up our session? All right. Well, if any other questions come up during the application process, feel free to share them with us at cci@pam.org. We'll do our best to answer your questions before the due date. And well, thank you everyone for joining us for this information session and for your interest in our fellowship program.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
And thank you for your interest. And we look forward to reviewing your applications.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.